Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline. It's actually thundering right now and storming, so if there's loud sounds, that is what that is. I'm about to go out and do some grocery shopping and hit the gym and do some shopping for my work inventory in the salon. Anyway, so I thought I might as well just record a video. I've actually recorded this video before, but it's been a couple of weeks, and I've kind of sat and stewed in some of the things that were going on in my mind with the subject. So the subject is really kind of why I quit my social media, except for YouTube. So people can argue that I'm still using social media, which I am, because obviously I'm here talking with everyone on the internet. But it's a little different. So years ago, I quit Facebook, and the reason why was because I don't identify as a liberal and I don't identify as a Republican, and so I'm more of in the progressive party, and I found myself just wanting to argue with pretty much everyone. And I found it very entertaining to argue with people and also prove people wrong. I found it get this kind of temporary satisfaction from it. But in the long run, it doesn't do you good. It's almost like it causes you more harm than good. So I quit Facebook a few years back because of that reason. And I thought, well, Instagram's different. It's just, I like to look at art. I like to socialize and send memes, back and forth. And I like to, just post pictures of things. And then it became very much kind of about my ego. So say if I would post a picture, I would get all these compliments, so it became this like ego thing. And I was spending a lot of time posting. If any of y'all followed me, I posted a lot of story stuff, and it was a lot of, I put a lot of effort into it. I felt like I could, I don't know, I felt like I could share a lot of good content. And actually, since I've quit, a lot of people have made a comment about that specifically. They're like, oh, well, your content was, so good. I'm sad that you're gone. I was like, yeah, but it wasn't healthy for me mentally. And this goes into, trans people as well. So when it comes to being transgender and on social media, it's very convenient to make a post and get just the right angles and the right lighting and all of these things. And then I would get, say, like 400 or 500 likes on my posts on Instagram, and I would feel very like, uplifted and like, oh, I look good today, or whatever that is. It's like this euphoric sort of feeling. And I found myself spending my time there instead of out here, in my world that I socialize within. And I'd also I found myself very good at picking up on information as it was happening. So I was very quick on like, what were all the hot takes that week? What was all the drama and politics and, all of that stuff. And I was very, very quick at it. And the problem is that it absorbed all of my own personal peace and harmony. I found myself so invested in everything. And I felt like, 2022 just passed by. Like it was like nothing. Like I don't even know how we had Christmas last year. It was very strange. And so I decided, I was like, how can I slow everything down in my life? Like, how can I focus more on the friends that I have in my actual world, not social media world? And how can I focus more on family that I should spend more time talking to? And what about reading? There's so many books I want to read. Why am I spending so much time on social media getting this, temporary satisfaction of approval that really isn't authentic? It's not real. And it's more of a show sort of thing. And, the thing is, it's not the app itself or these apps themselves. It's actually me. It's what the app brings out of me. So I realized once I quit Instagram, I found myself going to Twitter and just fighting with people. I get on J.K. Rowling's posts and start fighting with people. And it was like, it was very intense and unhealthy. So then I was like, Jacqueline, delete Twitter. You're never even on Twitter. What are you doing? So I deleted Twitter very quickly, and I decided, you know what? Let's only do this. So now YouTube has started to pick up a bit more. I'm sure a lot of y'all noticed that my community posts have picked up, and I do a lot of hot takes on here, but it's not as much. And so I'm trying to be more mindfully aware of my actions. And so if you look at things, say like the whole J.K. Rowling sort of situation with the wizarding game, trust me, I would love to play this game. But there's this strange like little pull I have because I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram anymore. So I'm not getting like the hot takes, the opinions. Because right now the game's very anti-Semitic and that's what people say. And that's like another hot take that people have jumped onto. And so there's the whole, one side of the argument when it comes to the specific subject that is, don't support people that what is it, that J.K. Rowling will get, what do they call it? Anyway, she gets paid for it no matter what, whatever uses the name. I forgot the word. Whatever uses the name for any content, anything that carries Harry Potter or whatever it is, she's going to get some kind of pay. So you're supporting someone that is has intentions to actually harm the transgender community, and she really does. Like, if you actually look at her social media, Twitter and whatnot, that every post is her doubling down on her views and opinions and taking things out of context and fear mongering. But I think people also need to sit back a little bit and look at, how, say, as her as an individual 20 years ago, 30 years ago, she wasn't who she is today, just the same as I'm not the same person I was 20, 30 years ago. So I believe when she created that content, it was actually quite a good thing. I mean, the majority of trans people can arguably say that they were huge fans of it back in the day. It gave us an escape to be ourselves, to imagine that there was maybe even a school where we could go to where everyone was different and it wasn't a part of, the stereotypical society, where we could be accepted for being, unique and different and going against the grain. And so I believe that she had good intentions back then. Well, I think she just doesn't really understand transgender people. I think a lot of TERFs and people like that actually just don't understand them. But then there's the ones that are more dangerous, the ones that actually suffer gender dysphoria, that don't medically transition or any kind of transition, and they actually need to, I've made posts about self-hatred, about how they need to double down and gain followers that agree with them. And the reason why they do that is because they need people to shove their own self-hatred down to the bottom of their depths. And the problem is, in the long run, it always overboils and comes out in traumatic ways and spills over, and they can't really control. That's not a healthy way of dealing with it. So it's almost like they're trying to vilify themselves to be able to run from it. Now, when it comes to like J.K. Rowling, I think you could really look at it from a simple way. So there's a lot of people that are, say, on social media, and they're so aware of every single move that she makes and every single move that everyone in their community makes, and some hot take that someone has over here, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's good. So it's just attacking. It's constantly attacking back forth, and whoever has the most valid thing is the one that seems to be they stand on it, and they're like, this is my mountain, and my issue is that since I quit social media, it looks like people are insane. I mean, people don't say these things to each other in real life. They don't, and when they do, they look crazy. Like, you could look at someone that say, yelling about transphobic stuff in real life, and they look unstable. And really, that's all you need to know about the individual. So to me, I can look at J.K. Rowling, and she looks unstable. She acts unstable. She's writing full novels underneath a fake name that talk about transvestite men dressing up in women's clothing and murdering cis women. She is so saturated in whatever that is that I actually feel sorry for her own self-destruction. So when it comes to the world we're in the past 4 or 5 years, we have divided each other so much. I mean, you have cis people and non-cis people, and now most trans people will only date other non-cis people in general. That was my phone. So they feel the need to only mingle with their own kind, and the reason why they do that is because it gives them the sense of safety, the sense of that they're understood. And my issue is that, so I think there's a turning happening, and there is something that is very unique, and I think a lot of people might be missing it. But if you look at, say, The Last of Us, the TV show, I love the first game. I'm still, it hurts to try and finish the second game. It's just, I find it so incredibly boring and tedious, and I find it very heavy-handed in the storytelling, and I'm just just couldn't really care. The flow is not there. I think they almost too smart for their own good, and it's backfiring, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love that game, especially trans people, but I'm just having a hard time. Anyway, but when it comes to the TV show, there's the third episode that came out with the gay love story with one of the characters that they insinuated that he was gay in the game, and of course they got, what's his name from Parks and Recreation to play this character, and a lot of of, cis manly men love Parks and Rec, and they love that actor. And so I found it really interesting when you would see this character, with their gun wall and their like "Don't tread on me" sign, and all of their far alt right, propaganda and conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and they're underneath their floorboards in their house. And so you have that character, and then I don't want to. This is going to contain spoilers for those who haven't seen the show, so heads up. Well, all the way like halfway through the show, there's he in one of his little traps he captures a guy, and it's actually just almost your stereotypical homosexual man. Like, he knows his wines and he knows his stuff. And halfway through the show, they fall in love, of course. And halfway through, they get into an argument because one of them wants to decorate the neighborhood and the other one wants to think about, saving gasoline and surviving the apocalypse and, rationing things. And the other one's trading guns for strawberry seeds. And so you have the total opposites, but they fall in love. And it's a beautiful episode, but it's so interesting to me to look at how we can see each other as being different and almost kind of accept each other in a strange way. It's where we're like, okay, yeah, they're just being stupid about their conspiracy theories and whatever. And then they're like, oh my God, they just want to decorate the yard. It was definitely not me, And so you have those seeing the beauty in someone, regardless if you agree with them or not, is actually the key to going on with your life, in my opinion. I think that, so in the situation with like J.K. Rowling, I believe she was a good person at one point. I just think she's embarrassed herself for so long now that she's doubled down. And not only she doubled down, she's created an audience. She's created a group of people, these TERFs, these trans radical exclusionary feminists that don't accept trans women as actual women. So they've created all this fear around it and it's like almost like a culty sort of thing. But you can actually look at that and flip it reverse and say trans people are like that, because they say the same things about trans people. They say that trans people are like cults and they are grooming children, which none of this is true. But you have to create propaganda and fear to run a cult. And both sides do this quite well. And so people are, arguing on social media about who's right, who's wrong, and whatnot. And me, I'm like, I kind of just want to play a wizard. I kind of want to be a wizard and run around and play. And that's it. I don't want to think about all the problems that I deal with in my daily life. And I kind of want to play that game. And do I like J.K. Rowling? Absolutely not. Would I even look at her twice if I saw her in public? Absolutely not. I would not care for that individual because it's obvious she's spiraling out of control in a self-destruction. And it's actually quite sad when you look at her doing that. But you can also look at trans people and how so they were definitely like, it's not what is it? What do they call it? A boycott of the game, but it's a backlash. That's what I would call it. It's people saying, don't support that because it supports this. And I'm like, really, the only way to change something is to do it from within. That's how you change things. That's how things have always been changed. So say when it comes to like Chick-fil-A or something like that, I believe that the way to actually change it is to swamp it with nothing but gay people. Go in there. Swamp it with gay people. Work there. Apply there as an LGBTQ person. Work within the place and actually change it from within. That's the only way you could really do it. And only like get so good in there that you hire friends of yours that are gay. And so basically you take it over. It's the only way to do it. So when it comes to say like Harry Potter and things like that, I think, or even in that wizarding subject, instead of supporting other products that are like obviously trans supporting, I think because they don't need the support, they're already there. Like there's someone on here that recommended everyone play Last of Us 2 because there's a trans character in it, played by a trans actor in real life. That's motion capture, performance capture, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, who gives a shit if they're trans or not? Like, that's my thing. I don't care if someone's trans or not trans. I really don't give a shit. It doesn't make me impressed. It doesn't make me anything. I feel like trans people have existed forever and they're just other human beings. But also on the other side, I'm not impressed by people they create propaganda and fear towards trans people. I don't like that either. So I think it's very important and we need to stop like creating hot takes where we can tear each other apart is what's happening, because it's never going to work that way. And also, the interesting thing is that most people that hate trans people are probably trans themselves. I've gone into the self-hatred part, and then people like to think, oh no, there's just people who just hate. And I don't think that people who invest emotionally so intensely are just full of evil. I don't believe in good and evil. I think that's a very Western religious mentality. Like Christianity does that a lot, where someone's inherently evil or someone's inherently good. I don't believe in such things. I believe we all have the seeds for good and bad inside of us, and that seed will grow regardless of if you water it with good or if you water it with bad. It's going to grow. If you don't water it at all, it will die out and disappear, and then it's no longer your issue. The problem is that people vilify other people, and they're watering that seed, and it just grows into this monster that takes you over. J.K. Rowling is a perfect example of how it's taken her over completely. I imagine her being, covered in like a thick sludge or like thorns or something like that, and she just can't get out. But if she admits that she did this to herself, it would make it worse. It's constricting around her, so she has to eventually let it go, or it's going to consume her. And I guarantee you there was a point in her life where something happened with someone that was trans, or something along those lines, where she embellished this memory, and she created a fear around it. And then when she made a post supporting cis women, she doubled down and created herself into a monster. She's turned herself into a villain, which is really quite sad. And lots of people do this. I mean, there's many, many people. If you look at, like, say, Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver is one of my idols. I love her. I don't even know how I'd handle if I ever ran into her. I think when I was a kid and I saw Aliens, and Alien 3, it was like those 3 films changed me. I was like, God, she's just I felt like so relatable. I felt like I could, if I was with her, I'd be like, yes, we're going to do this, bitch. And it's not even about being tough or carrying guns or anything like that. She's just smart. And to me, and very logical. And I found that to be such an inspiration growing up. But however, she made a movie in 2015 that is such an awful, awful transphobic film that with some weird intentions behind it. It's like bizarre. So it's a character so she's a doctor, a surgeon, and there's this man that hates women, and he's sexist and all of this stuff. And so somehow they capture him and give him facial feminization. I'm not kidding. And like full-blown sexual reassignment, gender-affirming surgery, and it comes out, and suddenly it's Michelle Rodriguez. Yes, the actress Michelle Rodriguez. And she comes out, and it's him, but a woman now. And she's like so mad about it. She goes on this revenge take for the fact that she now has a vagina and breasts and looks like a hot woman and is running around shooting and killing all these evil doctors. And I'm like, that's so fucked up in so many ways. Yeah, the more you look into that. But look, do I hate Sigourney Weaver now? Do I cancel Sigourney Weaver and tear apart everything she's done in the past? No, I'm not going to do that, because Ripley and the intentions that Sigourney Weaver had at that time, making that specific character with all those film directors, Ridley Scott, David Fincher, James Cameron, that character that she made right then and there, to me, stands alone. To me, I'm like, we're good. I don't need anything else from that individual. She just makes me happy seeing her, that she's doing well, and she created something that meant so much to me in my childhood. So do I cancel her for making something horrible like that film? And she even doubled down and defended it later on in life. And I'm like, I don't remember the name of it, so you're just going to have to do your own research. But no. And so that's my example. And that's what I use. But trans people are pretty bad. And now that the Wizarding game has done so well, and it's like the #1 streaming game and all this stuff, now conservatives actually went out of their way to purchase the game. Like, people who hate trans people are all over the Twitch streaming, and they're all admitting, I'm playing this game. Like, we're just gonna, what is it? We're gonna piss off all these trans people, all these mentally deranged people running around pretending they're different sexes and genders. And they're doing it because they got a rise out of the trans community. And that's my point. You can never give them anything to work with. You can never fight people like that. So for me, getting off social media, all of this is tied into, that's my rabbit running around acting like a lunatic. Everything is encapsulated in this concept of the world that we've created. And with social media and online presence and the way advertising is and But I think sometimes we need to actually turn that world off and just go out and talk to people in your real life. Go and communicate with people that you know, spend more time with family members, even if you dislike them. Spend more time with them. You got to create something, because other than that, like sitting on, I don't even have my phone with me, it's on the floor. Sitting on those devices and creating this monster inside your head will eventually destroy you. And that's why I got off the internet. It was because for me personally, it was unhealthy. I'm doing it on Instagram. I mean on YouTube. I'm doing it on YouTube, and yeah, it's not so good. You know, it's unhealthy. I do it, and I post these pictures and these selfies, and I'm like, oh, look how cute I look. Oh, I straightened my hair. Oh, love me. Um, I do it, or I'm like, look at my, muscles, or look at, it's all ego. And you have to be so careful, especially being trans, because you can get a lot of compliments on the internet. And then when you go in the real world, when someone doesn't give you those compliments, or doesn't praise you and love you like you feel that you deserve, then you think something's wrong. Or see what I'm saying? Being in reality is not on internet. The internet is not reality. Twitter is not healthy. Hating each other is not healthy. Having a hot take just to disprove someone is not healthy. It's not a good place to be. So, at least for me, y'all can do whatever you want. Some people love being on the internet and arguing with others. Trust me, it's fun. It's fun disproving people. It's fun trolling people that are less intelligent and less experienced than you. But what does it do? It does you no good. It doesn't create a positive warm feeling. It doesn't do that. It's like bad. It's actually a bad feeling. Anyway, so that's my little random hot take. I guess it is a hot take that I wanted to put out there on YouTube. And yeah, I think I'm growing up. I'm getting older and things are changing. Anyway, I'm going to run out and run some errands and do some stuff. I will be on tonight. I'm going to upload this video today. I'm going to be on tonight, and I'm going to be playing more Dark Souls 1, which I hate because it's I keep falling off cliffs and things and killing myself, and my viewers keep giving me bad advice. But it's okay. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying hanging out with everyone, and that's my social media, is playing video games with other people and chatting. Sometimes I get irritated with y'all, but anyway, I hope everyone's well. I'll make another video soon. I want to make a really thorough dating video, a new one, discussing different topics and different things, and how shitty people can be to each other. Y'all have a great day. I will talk to y'all next time, and be safe out there. Bye-bye.